My name is Paul Shore, and you are watching another edition of the Street Speaks, a spontaneous speaker's corner for Montrealers. Why am I doing this? Well, over the course of the past 2 years, I've gone around the city and I've interviewed countless Montrealers. And when I asked them the question, when was the last time a journalist or a politician asked you for your opinion about anything, almost all of them have said never. So this is my attempt to give Montrealers an unfiltered platform to express themselves about anything. Nothing is off limits. This week, Montrealers are speaking out about their overuse of technology. Some are sharing with me how having kids has changed their lives, and others are telling me the story of how they became activists. Also ahead, our house band Skinny Bros returns, and comic improviser Sehar Manji, actor-writer Matt Goldberg, and comic Emma Wilkie all take to the Street Speaks Soapbox.
I read more. I was reading more books than articles, and maybe like 3 paragraphs of an article, and I was reading way more. Yes.
Are you checking it all day
long?
long?
It's always a struggle for me actually to just like have time not looking at a phone or doing something.
Yesterday, my sister called me and she said, "Hey, I'm at the library. What do I buy?" And I was like, "Shit. I don't know what to suggest you. It's been a while and I don't buy a book. I read more articles than books right now."
I used to like spend a lot of time looking at walls, listening to music, just like not doing anything. It was really nice. And now I find myself often just like wasting time.
And it's just like quick little subjects, like, I get to a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and do I really remember what I read last week? Yes, my life was different.
For example, when we're near, like we can be friends, like in the same room, and we're all gonna be on our cell phones. But at the end, I think it still connects you to the world. So is it really bad? I don't think so.
So I wouldn't say it's made my life so much better, but it has made it easier for that. Sometimes when my computer's not working, or when I don't feel like turning on my computer for one little thing, I do use my smartphone.
So I would really have to think about that question because I have not really seen the negative side of technology.
But you did mention that people, like when everyone's together, they're on their phone, right?
Yeah.
Does that bother you, or is that just the new norm?
Well, that's a new norm, right? So.
What I'm seeing is that lots of things are communication skills actually have gone down in a way. We are sending these text messages. We are all over in the cyberspace, but we are missing out on something, which is talking person to person, looking in somebody's eyes, looking at him, talking with him, like sharing. This. Like this is beautiful.
Well, we're texting or like on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, and we think we're connecting to each other, but it's not really one-on-one, Yeah. So it's like the middleman's always getting in the way.
So I guess I didn't want to get a smartphone. I wanted to try to see. I wanted to myself to learn how to engage with people and the world without assistance, I guess. And I've had to learn Montreal so much better because I don't have a map, and like I have to walk and get lost and like write things down on my hand and like bring notes and a map around with me to and it's been so amazing. Like I feel like I do have a really good sense of navigation because I've used my inherent sense of navigation. There's like a ton of benefits and a ton of things that are harder, but it was the right decision. Yeah.
And I see this thing happening all over. People are crossing the street, they are texting, people are driving, they are texting and whatever, and busy on their cell phones. They are not paying attention. It is increasing the risk, and it could be the cause of many, many accidents, which people don't realize. Probably the accidents are happening because of this.
I think there are some good things, like, for example, like when a tragedy happens, like in Paris or Beirut or Orlando or Turkey or wherever, we know really fast, and that's like invaluable. Like we all need to know those things really fast. But as well, like with how many tragedies there are happening and like how fast we can know, we're becoming pretty desensitized. And like if we get a news memo that says there's been a shooting, it's like, oh, again, like whatever. But
there are human beings who do the things which are not the easiest, which were more difficult things. And those are the human beings really which have brought us to this world where we are. If we always take the easy option out is not always the best option in life.
I still think the spread of news and like ability to accommodate communication as far as like activism goes and like groups and protests, like those things can happen really fast and more efficiently because of social media.
Has it improved your life or made it less enjoyable?
Convenient, yeah. Convenient, but I mean, it's also a distraction too.
I'm very happy to welcome to the Street Speaks Soapbox, Montreal comic and improviser, Sehar Manji.
When I was a kid, my mom and I would go out to eat at restaurants sometimes. Not often, but a few times a year. And sometimes she would realize that she didn't carry enough cash. So she would leave me there as collateral while she went to find a bank or an ATM machine. And so that's fine. She loves me, I get it. We were a team. And she always came back for me. It's kind of like when you leave your jacket somewhere as a placeholder. You're obviously going to come back for it, right? Teamwork. But then there are times when the placeholder system may not be the best idea. And even as a kid, I understood this. I grew up in Nairobi. Not the safest city in the world. And one day, my mom and I wanted to buy a microwave. I must have been about 7 or 8. Now there's an area of town called River Road. And it's a rather sketchy, crime-ridden, dangerous area. But if you are willing to risk going there, you can get brand new appliances and electronics for super cheap. And that's what we did. We got the microwave and we put it into the trunk of the car. And then we got in the car and prepared to head home. Now there's one thing you need to know about my mom. She is a terrible driver. And when it comes to parking, she's worse. So she started the engine and then spent the next few minutes moving back and forth in place, trying to get out of the space. Meanwhile, a sketchy guy behind us was watching the entire thing, probably laughing on the inside. So he comes over to the car and knocks on the window. And he offers to remove the car from the space for us. And my mom, in her desperation to leave River Road as fast as possible, hands him the keys and gets out of the car. So then I move to get out of the car, and she turns to me and says, No, you stay in the car so that he doesn't steal it. What? Because a skinny 7-year-old girl is gonna stop a grown man from driving off with a Daihatsu, a brand new microwave, and potentially a hostage. I sunk into the back seat. Needless to say, it was the longest 20 seconds of my life.
Having children changed my life because I understood what it meant to have responsibility and to provide for my children.
Okay, so I have lupus. It's a chronic illness that attacks your immune system. So I got diagnosed when I was in my early 20s. And I didn't think I would be able to have kids and stuff. So I went through a lot with my health. So finally, when I did have my kids, I was extra grateful.
It makes you a better person in a way. Rather than think of you have to think of somebody else who is in your life.
How did they change my life? I don't know what to say. There's not words, really. I can't really,
I didn't grow up seeing all these negative stereotypes and so forth. As I said, I grew up in the church, and see, there's one of my little men right now.
Hi.
You know? That's Shakur.
Hi, how are you? Good. Talk to your dad.
Humility, for sure. And adults are not as smart as they think they are. The kids are the teachers, really. And they just have a way of bringing us down to earth, you know? Yeah.
Well, for sure it changes things for the couple too. I mean, it's not, we don't have so much time, the two of us anymore. Other than that, like managing our time, I guess, because your day just flies by and you don't even really know what you did.
And you have to take care, you have to, it's a big responsibility. You have to educate, you have to teach him, you have to teach him manners, you have to teach him good values.
It's like you become a man. That's you know, in a word, it's like because finally you have to quit a little bit your video game to the real life game, you know.
You know, and it just gave me a sense of like of direction and where I wanted to go in my life, and you know, but you know, as I was saying, you know, just wanted to have a legacy or have something for my children, just like my dad did have for me growing up, and setting a good example for my little boys.
How you guys doing?
Good. Yeah.
So it's like having a farm, for example. You have to be there. The thing to have to be there for first year or two, it was like, you know, like, woof, what did I do? But now it's so, I feel like a man, you know.
Was that hard?
No, it's just when you love somebody, it comes so naturally. I mean, it's not a hardship. No, it's a beautiful experience.
Always thinking he's there, you know. That's, in one word, he's there. So think about him and act. Thinking when I do take a decision, you know, he's there.
I'm very happy to welcome to the Street Speaks Soapbox Montreal actor, writer, and parent, Matt Goldberg.
So, I'm changing Ella into her pajamas when she looks up at me completely unprompted and says, I want to be a baby again. What? What do you mean, honey? I want to be a baby. I want to be a baby again, Dada. I mean, she's always been a big talker, right? I'm not trying to brag or anything, but nostalgia at 2 3/4, it's pretty impressive. But honey, I say, you want us to carry you everywhere? Yeah, she says, I want to sleep in a crib. I mean, I get it, right? Her 6-month-old brother is sleeping down the hall, so she's got this life model. But this is a kid who loves doing things, who would be so bored as a baby. And honestly, she was a miserable baby. But honey, I say, you won't be able to sit at the table with us, or go to daycare, or play with the blocks. I want to be a baby, she whines. And I mean, I get it, right? Like, I do. I just turned 35 this year, and there's a huge part of me that wants to be 21-year-old Matt Goldberg again, or do high school again, but better. My childhood, I miss recess. We all do this, right? But a nostalgic toddler, this is getting a little ridiculous. One idea comes to mind. I'm an English teacher, my wife is a librarian. If there's one thing this kid knows, it's stories. So I do my best 3-year-old appropriate made-up fairy tale. Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Butterball. And more than anything, Butterball dreamed of being a baby again. One night, she's visited by a fairy who offers her one wish. And she falls on her knees and says, oh, I wish I could be a baby again. And poof, magically the fairy re-babies her. Butterball is thrilled. But the next morning, she begins to see the error of her ways. When she wakes up, she can't get out of bed on her own. She can't talk or sing. She can't help make the pancakes, or even worse, eat them. All the toys in the house go unplayed with, and Butterball cries, oh, I wish I could be a little girl again. Luckily, the fairy is still in the neighborhood, unbabies her, she's reunited with her family, and they all live happily ever after. All in all, pretty good, I think. I finished getting her ready. Ella takes it all in. She's quiet, a thinker. She gets this scrunched up little look on her face. And that's when she turns to me. Daddy, where is the fairy? What? In the story, love. I need a fairy, Dada. I need a fairy to make me a baby again. And I mean, what do you say to that, right? Damn it, she's right. I want to be a little baby too.
I'm very happy to welcome back to the show our house band on a roof, Skinny Bros.
When in my 20s, you know, if I was working somewhere else, I would just like live for the weekend and then party my face off, which is maybe normal for somebody in their 20s, but it just wasn't meaningful. Like I wanted to do something more meaningful, more fulfilling for myself, and this is what it is that does that for me.
I don't know, I had to do it. Like, it was in me.
I feel I'm always learning more, you know? I always learn something when I do art.
But I really wanted to be part of a community and to actually make something good, something that makes people happy. So this is why I went to the cultural field.
And I think art definitely serves a function, you know, like it does something for people. Definitely for myself, I have this drive to want to do it, and I don't know why. It's probably some wiring that different people have. They have these urges, these inclinations to do different things, but this is mine.
Because like art for me is a process, and the result is a little bit like less important, so people usually react to the result and like they like it or not, but to me it doesn't really make any difference, you know, like I don't care if they like it, you know, like.
Oh, I do it, just to help mentor the younger guys, you know, and show them that, with hard work we will get there, you know, and patience and being humble.
The thing is about money is like, I want it, but I never want it enough to do something that I don't want to do. Which is maybe a fault because, you know, money's pretty good.
We need money to survive,
we need money
right?
to survive.
You can't go and blame, there's nothing here for Canadians to do or Montrealers. There are tools there to help you. And if you don't want to go and search it out, that's on you.
And, you know, I guess I'm an emotional being, so I want to do something that satisfies me. Like, I've tried to do work that is not very, that wasn't super satisfying, and I just get depressed.
Like, it was my process of learning. It's like my process of discovery. So if they like it, I feel nice. Like, it's nice to have compliments. I like it when people are appreciative of my art. But it's the least important part of it, you know?
Not after the stereotypical things that you see these young men glorifying, sex and women, drugs, and you have all the big record labels, and like there's so much negative, but then that's what you throw in their face.
The thing is, like, once I got to a certain point where I'm like, I'm surviving, and that's fine, I'm not stressing. When a big contract comes, I'm super intrigued by it, but then if I start thinking about it, and I start feeling like I don't actually want to do it, I'm not really motivated to go for it.
I mean, I'm not saying they're to blame, it's a cash cow, but I'm just saying, there comes a time when, if we don't change that, okay, and just because I want to make music doesn't mean I have to follow what they do to get there. I'm gonna do it my way.
So, like if I am doing a commission, it's got to be something that is like I'm interested in, as well as, like it's got to have a mix of it. What I really want to do all the time is just do art, pure art, like do something that I want to do. Whether I like it at first or not, it always brings me somewhere else, challenges me in different ways and helps me grow. So then I come away with something almost every time, even if at the beginning I'm like, I don't want to be doing this, but afterwards I'm like, that was a great idea, or like I thought of something else, or you know, like it takes you out of your norm and it's good for you.
Please join me in welcoming to the Street Speaks Soapbox friend of the show and Montreal comic, Emma Wilkie.
I once asked a guy if I could do a set on his show at a club, and he said, "Sure, we need another girl on the show." At the time, I didn't realize that that was a sexist thing for him to have said, and I don't think he thought it either. I mean, I knew the guy. But what really pissed me off was it took me a day and a half to realize it was actually a sexist thing. I'm tired of being a bad feminist, and I don't even realize the way that I'm being treated differently. We daily face a litany of microaggressions that we don't even notice. This is so much far beyond being called funny for a girl, to which I sometimes still say thank you. I was booked as an opening act at a club, and the club owner said, "We have 2 opening acts, but you're both girls. I don't like going girl-girl, so you're gonna go first. She's gonna go way later on before the headliner." I said, "First of all, I don't think I've ever heard anybody say they don't like going girl-girl. Because clearly you don't have a problem going guy-guy. I already saw you go guy-guy-guy-guy-guy-guy on a show. Woo! That was a party. But I'm tired of being introduced as, here's your next female comic. I don't do that in real life. I don't say, let me introduce you to my male boss. I don't say, here, time for you to meet my female mother. I don't like being considered a female comic. Just a comic. Just as I wouldn't say, I'm going to my friend's gay wedding. Just his wedding. Just as I wouldn't say, I'm going to my black friend's black barbecue. Unless, of course, he burnt all of the food.
I started researching my family roots because I'm half Indian, half black from Trinidad. So we have a history of both slavery and indentured labor. After doing my research, I realized that not a lot of people know about each other in the really tangible ways that make them feel like they're connected, you know?
The problem is idealism, is the thinking that we're gonna find the solution to our problems through a debate. That's complete bullshit. You're gonna find a solution to your problems through action.
There was no Black Lives Matter Montreal, so I decided to start one. But the direction that we're gonna take is dealing with the community, helping them where they need help.
No? So if you disagree with somebody on a political question, well, go on the terrain, and go try what you want to do and see how it works.
Just the world and the direction it was taking pulled me that way. Terrorism and, you know, shooting of black men, unarmed black men, or, you know, things like that. It just pulled me in that way because I was already a kind of an underground activist. So now I was like, okay, well, I could use my knowledge, you know, my research and do something with it.
And then if it works good, go tell the other person to try our thing and do better. And if our thing doesn't work or our thing works better, then do that thing. Because debating forever on rhetorical questions gets you nowhere.
I want to help people to come together. That's at the end of the day. I don't want people to have misconceptions, and if they do, maybe something that was done within the organization can help them, or you never know. It's just to help people, basically.
In the militant movement, sometimes people who are radical just hang with other radical people, and then there begins to be a sort of competition for who's the more rad, and that's a problem.
Whether it's police officer or person of color or not, I think if you've lost someone, we're in solidarity with that. So we shouldn't segregate compassion. It's not. I don't see that as very productive. Staying angry and segregating your sadness. I think we should come together and heal together.
That wraps up another edition of the Street Speaks. A special thank you to our house band Skinny Bros and to Soapbox performers Matt Goldberg, Sehar Manji, and Emma Wilkie. Please join me next week as Montrealers are speaking out about their addiction to technology. Some are sharing with me why they don't follow politics, and others are telling me that we need to invest in each other in order to address social change in our communities. Also, storyteller Nisha Coleman and improviser comedian Inga Knopf both returned to the Street Speaks Soapbox. If you want to get in touch with me, please don't be shy. I can be reached on Twitter and on Facebook. See you next time.
My name is Mr. 514, baby, and you are watching the Streets Speaks. No, let me do that again.